Good evening, everyone. Myself and Steve are back. It's Thursday night.
Yes, get in there. Come on.
It's been a little while, I know, but don't worry, we're back. And it's time for the Arsenal Social Extra.
Get in with the extra. Come on.
To Martinelli in the box, Gabriel Martinelli. It's now with Granit Xhaka. Is it going to be the third goal? It is the third goal. Granit Xhaka with it. That seals it.
Steve, no. How you doing, my friend?
Mate, so excited for it. Here we are again, back together. It feels like a lifetime. It feels like an absolute lifetime.
You say that, right? It's been a little while since we've done the show now, but we were together last week, weren't we? We were together putting the worlds to right before the Man City game. We were buzzing. After the game, not so much.
That didn't go too well. I don't know if I told you or not. We didn't get back till 2:30 in the morning.
No, but you're still messaging me on the train on the way home, so I guess it was quite late.
Yeah, 2:30 in the morning. It was very good. We put the world to rights.
We did.
It wasn't exactly the outcome that we wanted, was it? It wasn't. It didn't finish in the way that we wanted. But
the result slightly tarnished a very enjoyable day.
I think so. I think so. Well, look, at the end of the day, we're at the Emirates. We're watching our team, and that's an interesting one. That's a real interest. And I know we've got a lot on today, but one of the things that I think, what does it? We do these podcasts on a regular basis. We're guests on other people's shows. To me, Adam, I was thinking about this the other day. What does it mean to be a fan? And ultimately, what does it mean to you to actually be on these sorts of shows? Because ultimately, there are a lot of people. Rich's channel was seeing over 100,000 views, sort of heading towards 200,000 very soon. And these sort of we're sort of self-appointed hosts of a show. But tell me, Adam, what do you think being a fan actually is, and what does it mean to be hosting a thing like this, like the podcast?
Do you know what? Like, I think part of me thinks I've got no idea what being a fan is nowadays, because so many people have so many different views about what makes a fan and what a good fan is, etc. That we've seen through doing shows like this and the stuff that we share. You can see that there's different viewpoints all over. For me, being a fan is supporting your football team,
for sure,
regardless, always being there and supporting. Obviously, I don't think there's any problems with being critical from time to time. That's part and parcel of it. But overall, I think you've got to have that behind. You've got to be behind a team no matter what. Even if we ever go about players, we ever go about managers' results, you are still doing it because you care. And that's the thing, it's something that you care. And I think a lot of times now, so-called fans say stuff just to be controversial when they're probably not that fans. They just want to kind of get noticed a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's some of the so-called fans that I don't like at the moment, especially on the social media that we've shared some of our favourites, throughout the season, and we'll continue to do so. But it's a weird one for me. Also, it's that togetherness around football, I think, as well.
Sure.
Not just you and the team, but it's the togetherness that you have around your fellow supporters. Like, again, we chat, you've had your tickets for a while, so the same guys around you. Similar to me where I sit, I've known the same guys around me, and you build that kind of bond for 2 hours every couple of weeks. And then you don't see them again for a couple of weeks. But then when you see them again, it's like that togetherness is back there again. Do you know what I mean? It's a weird thing.
It is a real interesting thing, and sometimes what we see is I call them like these Z-list celebrities that go for around these podcasts that I find very interesting. These so-called people in the know that I find quite toxic at times. And I look at some, like I was watching. I'm sort of watching a few programs and sort of keeping an eye on Twitter and stuff like that. And I'm seeing some of the vitriol that comes out from these, again, so-called, sort of, I don't know, these sort of specialists. I mean, I do, for me, I love the team. I love what we do, and you're absolutely right. And you build that rapport with the people around you, and you share those comments and stuff. And I kind of come on here sometimes, and I've got to thank Rich, because ultimately it was Rich that invited me on. And it was many years. It was ages ago, and it was because I was very pro Arteta at the time, and he was a little bit disparaging towards the manager, and so I got little tiny bit, a little tiny. It's not like Rich, but I got a real good beating from him. I really got a good beating, but in a nice way. Do you know? It was in a really nice way.
The thing I think what's good is we do it in a constructive way.
Yeah.
There are other channels and other outlets out there that I don't think do it in the most constructive way and do things to have said, sensationalize things. I think you've just seen that in the chat, even Terry. I do it for people like Terry as well. I love seeing Terry's name pop up. I forgot what you look like. I know it's been a while. I think it's been a good few weeks, and it has been a very emotional time. To be honest, I mean, to tell you, Terry, how bad things have got. Steve's not even drinking tonight,
mate.
This is how bad things have got in the last couple of weeks. I mean, I am, if it helps.
Yeah,
but it's got to a bad stage where Steve's not got the wine or cider out.
Well, I have to say, right, there is a very good reason behind it. And Terry, good evening to you, mate. And there is an example of what I call a true fan, because Terry comes on, he shares his views with us. Sometimes he doesn't agree with us, which is all part and parcel of it. But he's always here, always got a friendly word, never malicious in any way whatsoever, as we talked about. But I have to say, so I was looking after my mother-in-law. She's had a hip operation today, so I felt, and she's having problems walking around. She's staying at our house, so I've got to. I'm under strict instructions from Grippenführer, my life partner, who's turned around and said, "If you get drunk tonight, I'm throwing you down the stairs, and you'll need to."
I thought you were going to say, "And she's drunk all the booze." That's what I was waiting for the punchline. I was waiting for the mother-in-law to just drunk you out of one.
The good thing with her, I love it to bits, because the good thing about her is she turned around and said, "I was loading all the stuff. I've driven down from Devon today." I know this isn't Arsenal chat, guys, but we'll get to the point. The best part about it was she had this bag. She said, "Don't forget that bag in the garage." I said, "What bag's that?" Like, seriously. And I felt like the kitchen sink and everything going. And she went, "It's the booze bag. That's the important one, because the minute I'm off these painkillers, that's it. Like, I'm having a proper drink." So she's got all wrapped up.
I think I'd get on with this woman. She sounds great.
So by this the other, I know it's the negative. She's an EastEnder original, born in the Bow Bells and all that, the sound of the Bow Bells, and she's a West Ham fan. So
that's all right, and that's okay. You're all right with that. That's all right. And do you know what I mean? Right. Another thing that we talk about fans now. Another thing that I do actually really enjoy is interacting with other fans who are sensible.
Yes.
Like, not other fans who are just pillocks, let's be honest, but people who are sensible and you can hold a good chat with. We've had a few on the channel, but also I like to be able to meet fans down the pub. I like to talk to away fans, and I like to, get their views on stuff. And, and that I always like, whenever I meet someone, you're probably the same. What football team do you support? Yeah, and it's the start of a conversation. When we're at a business event or we're out socially, and I love to be able to interact with other fans, but in a sensible way, in a constructive way, not just a slanging match. Even if they are a Spurs fan, for instance. So,
I love Terry. Terry, I love you, mate. I really do. But no, I think you're right. But what you do is, at the end of the day, it's about sharing your opinions, and sharing your views. Actually, in a constructive, we're all grown up adults, and we've got what as King Solly. King Solly's been absolutely brilliant these last week. But I have constant conversations with him. Yeah, I
do too. And he's a nice guy when you get going. At first, when I first started seeing his tweet, like, my view of him from then has gone completely 180. Yeah. When I first started seeing his tweet without kind of context, I was thinking, "Oh, he winds me up. Let's get him on." Yeah. But then once you actually have a bit of interaction with him, he's just a fan who is going through a hell of a bad time. Yeah. And you can, even as Spurs, you can kind of relate to it because you feel his pain a little bit.
He put a great one up today. There was some expletives in it that I can't say, obviously, because we'll get started. He just turned around and said, "Dyer, another contract. Are you kidding me?" And then it went on to this tirade that went in there. But interesting we talk about that. So look, I think with this, what I'm finding, what I love about the podcasts that we do, or vlogcasts, or whatever this is that I haven't got a bloody clue. I go and have a look at the stats. I have no idea. I speak to some really nice people. What I'll never do is ram my opinion down anybody's throat to the point of where it becomes a bit uncomfortable. And I think that is a true fan. A true fan is one that actually will share their experiences, share everything that we're doing.
You've got to respect other people's opinions. I think
absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And that's why I love it. But, mate, going back to that contract.
Before we go any further, because I know we've got stuff. I just want to say, rest in peace, Mr. John Motson.
Oh yeah, legend, absolute
today,
legend.
And I'm sure there wasn't a genuine football fan out there who didn't have a bit of sadness when they heard that news.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You grow up with his voice, you know what I mean?
And Dickie Davis as well. We lost Dickie Davis.
Exactly. So these are voices that you've just grown up with and you kind of take for granted because they've always just kind of been there. And he'll leave a massive gap, but he's also been very much a pioneer. I mean, I was looking at his kind of stats: 10 World Cups, 10 European Championships, I think 29 or 30 FA Cups, over 200 England games he's commentated on. It's amazing. And I was watching back earlier, I think he was on the news, they showed the clip of him against Brian Clough that time, going back to I think it was in the 80s. Yeah. Wow, that was amazing. I don't think I'd really appreciate how good that interview was back then. But if anyone gets a chance to that, go on to YouTube and put John Motson and Brian Clough. It was absolutely amazing. So yeah, before we got into all the antics and the tomfoolery I'm sure we're going to talk about, I thought I just wanted to, Mr. John
We've
Motson.
lost, again, Dickie Davis. Everybody remembers that on the Saturday, sitting there with doing the sports and stuff and watching the football, and Mr. Motson as well. We've lost some,
definitely,
just some real amazing. Like people from the industry. So what can I say? Rest in peace, my friend. But I do have a glass of wine in my hand. Yeah, there you go, mate. And
there's a couple more regulars appeared in the chat. We've got Loki, evening, mate. Good to see you. We've got Colonel Ward back as well. Not seen Colonel Ward for a little while. Good to see you as well. I hope everyone's doing well. So sorry, Steve, you were going to say, let's go back to what you were going to say before I interrupted you.
Well. What can we say? Looks like Bukayo Saka is ours for a little bit longer, and the talisman that he is and the way that he drives it forward. I think. But
were you actually worried about that? Because personally, I wasn't worried. I always thought, out of all of them, I always thought we were pretty secure with him. And I know it's not done and dusted yet. I know it's not. Not even been out there, let alone dry. But I was never worried about him leaving now at this point. Yeah. Had we been having a bad season, potentially, maybe. But I just think out of the players, he just seems to be so ingrained as part of what we're trying to do that it could be like the card that breaks the pack if he went, kind of thing. So
I think there's a couple of, no player is bigger than any team, that's for sure. But however, this gentleman is a amazing talent. Just a generational talent is in my opinion with him. And I cannot talk about the significance of him signing up to a new contract. Okay, him, Martinelli, and I've got to feel so sorry for Martinelli because everybody's on his case. I know I have been, but it's more a case of he looks tired moving forward. But I think with Saka signing that contract, Martinelli on the new contract, Jesus on his way back, so he's a couple of weeks away. And the interesting one that we've seen as well. So I just think it bodes so well for our team. It bodes so well. And I think from Saliba's perspective, I think hopefully that's enough to tip him over the edge.
Saliba seems very much part of that team now. Do you know what I mean? He's involved in everything. And I know that I think he's slipped up a little bit the last month or so. I don't think he's been at his best. But again, that happens with all players, let alone young players. That's to be expected. And I think the good thing about it is no one's really got on his back yet. But I do think seeing Martinelli and I do think seeing Saka signing these contracts can only help. It can only help to. But it's also if we're going to go and attract new players. Say that we've got deals, they're not going anywhere. Come and join them, kind of thing. It can only be a good thing. And for me, it speaks volumes about Arteta. it speaks volumes about what the club are doing internally. The fact that these guys are wanting to commit,
For sure.
I think that can't be underestimated.
No, for sure. It just means that from a recruitment perspective, the other part, one I was going to open up, and now we've got our true fans with us tonight. One of them in Weatherspoons listening to us too. Couldn't think of anything better to do. Get yourself a little cheeky bacon sandwich. Yeah, we were in Weatherspoons the other day, weren't we? I think that's where, in fact, that Adam was where the downfall of our whole evening started. Really, is when we ended up in Weatherspoons.
In the coronet, yeah.
I mean, that's a story for another day. The extension of Xhaka's contract. What are you feeling about that at this moment in time? Because again, that's one player that I since he threw, I want to kind of draw a line under it, but I want to mention it. Since he had the falling out with the fans, since he, threw his top down, all that part, I think he's turned himself around. He's eating a load of humble pie. We're seeing the player that should be there. He looks a bit tired at the moment.
He's matured loads. I think all I can say about the Xhaka contract is two things. One, does he deserve it? Yes, 100%.
I think so.
Two, am I happy about it? Yeah, I am, because I think he's an important I think he's an important person around the squad.
Yes.
And that's clear to see on the pitch. I mean, at the beginning of the season, Odegaard's come into that captain's role more now. But at the beginning of the season, when Odegaard wasn't quite there, Xhaka was the one who was leading the team, getting them together, doing the talking. Now you see Odegaard doing that now, as a captain should. But I think that Xhaka's kind of led by example for that, and he's been an excellent kind of foil for Odegaard. But yeah, I mean, next to El Neni, Xhaka's our longest serving player, isn't he?
Yes.
I think as before. Discounting obviously the guys who have come through the youth team, obviously. But so you can't kind of underestimate the, I suppose, experience that he's had. He's gone through a number of managers now at Arsenal, and he's gone through good times and bad times, and I think he's playing his best football he has for Arsenal this season, 100%. And I'll be honest with you, I do think we'll sign someone that will probably push him down to a squad player next year. I do think we'll get a midfielder. But as a squad player, when you've got Champions League football, let's hope, next season, you're going to need as many good players as you can get. And if you're Xhaka, why would you really want to go anywhere else right now? Again, you're on the cusp of doing something great. And
it's and that's the great part of it, because I think he's a bit of an unsung hero right now. Okay, I genuinely looking at the team this season, I think he's one of the unsung heroes, because I think actually he does a lot more.
I don't think he has been unsung. I think people have been finally singing his praise. I know we have.
Yeah, but he's been over. I think unsung might be the wrong terminology. Then I think what we've seen is a player that's just sat back and let the likes of Odegaard and Saka and Martinelli take all the limelight and all of the good stuff that's going on. Barcelona 1-0 up, by the way, at the moment. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. To be honest with you,
I'm fine with that. To be honest, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, but being southern, being from family from southern Spain, mate. No, we're more Madrid. We'd be more Madrid. But anyway, look, that by the by. But see, he's been in the background. Actually, he's sat in the background. He's not taking the limelight. He's taken. It was interesting. He's taken a lot of the steam out of when the situations fire up. He's in there dragging people away, and he's not his normal hot-headed self. So I think we're seeing the best of him, and I think we're very lucky. And I've got to say, because I was, that he didn't end up in Roma. We are so lucky, because I think he's been a catalyst for a lot of what's gone on around him. Definitely. Now, as for turning into a squad player, of course, he's at his zenith now, and I think we're going to start to see him, slowly but surely lose a bit of pace. But I haven't got a problem with that. And there's lots of talks about Declan Rice coming in. Apparently, personal terms have been agreed with that. But how many times have we heard that before? Tielemans was still after as well. And I've seen
in both. I think we'll get one or the other.
Well, Tielemans is a free. So Tielemans will be free. So I think we'll probably see Declan Rice as the big.
Remember, we've just extended El Neni's contract as well.
I think that's more to sell him. That's more to sell him.
No, I think from what I gather, El Neni's will become a coach once his contract runs out. He'll become a coach at Arsenal. I think that's the plan now.
Why not?
Only from what I've heard. I'm no expert. So So I've just seen that comment in the chat from Loki. Got to put it on there. And that's fine. You've got your reasons. That's fine. And we're all right with that. And you know what? I know a lot of Arsenal fans who still do have that grudge. Still, can't. And that's, again, I think everyone's entitled to their opinion.
And that's why we love our club. That's why we love our club.
Colonel Ward's put this in. I think this is on the Villa game, obviously. Got complaints from the neighbours when the 2 late goals went in over them. Yeah. I was actually listening to the game in the car because I was driving back from somewhere. I nearly crashed, which is, again, quite dangerous, but I was on my own. And it was, again, going back, someone, I think it was Terry, said Saka definitely signed. And I think that was you who replied, Steve, that, the Athletic kind of let it go. It's not been signed. It's not been signed, but it's agreed.
I can't remember who's the one that always. I can't rember the journalist's name.
David Ornstein.
Yeah, so
I saw that.
Ornstein's come out and actually said it's just the final bits. He's going to, and it's done. Like, it's 200 a week, is what he's on, which is ridiculous money. But that.
I think what they said is it's all agreed. Everyone's happy. It's not signed yet, but it's as good as signed.
Yeah. So and if Ornstein's saying it. It's not to me, it's not some random bloke on Twitter that's turning around saying, I've got a friend of his ticket bloke who sells, scarves on the outside that talk to a bloke. No, Ornstein seems normally 99% of the time absolutely gets it spot on. So I'm good.
He is. Nice one. So, I mean, I think we're all contract situation. I think we're looking rosy, really.
Yeah.
And I think there's plenty of things to be thankful for. Also today, have you seen the new kit leaks at all?
Yes, I have.
So I don't know how much I believe these, but I wanted to share them. I don't know if anyone's seen them. So today, leaking has been our new home kit and our new away kit. So this is our supposed new home kit, and I've already got issues with it. So here we go. First thing I'll say is I have heard that in the Premier League you can't have gold as your sponsor or number, and I think that was an issue when. For our away kit this year, the black kit, we're not allowed to use the gold writing for the name. That's why they had to do it in silver. I don't know how true that is. So I'm not sure how. I mean, obviously the stripes gold, I'm all right with that. But the actual Emirates being in gold, that's why I don't really believe it as much because I don't think you're maybe not allowed that for some reason.
I like it. If I'm honest with you, I actually like it.
I don't mind the kit. I quite like the gold 3 stripes. I'm okay with it. I think I'd need to see it in the flesh to have a real good look at it. I'm okay with it. It's not as, I mean, it's still better than every single Puma kit that was made. That's not saying much, to be fair. And then there was the away kit as well, which to me looks more like a goalkeeper's kit.
No, that's horrible. That's
yeah,
take that, right.
They're kind of trying to go along the way of the last year's away kit, the all yellow lemony type thing, which is nice. But I don't like that.
A mashup of a Man United kit. It's horrible.
Well, this is exactly what it is. I think we're kind of copying United's kits from the year before because United have got a kind of that colour kit this year as their away kit. Yeah. And now we've got it next year. And like we went from black, they had a black, and I think we're copying them a little bit. But it's Adidas kits doing the rounds like they used to do. So they just like make it all different colours. I mean, you've seen Bayern Munich's kit this year. Their away kit is the same as Real Madrid kit from about 4 years ago.
Mate, hang on a sec. Hot off the press from our fans.
I agree. I agree. I'm not a fan of this one. It looks like a goalkeeper's kit to me, or it looks like someone's going to put it on and go and work on the bins or something. I don't know. I'm not a fan so far. Let's see it in the flesh. I mean, we love merch. Obviously, we don't like Arsenal's merch all the time, but we love our kits.
I like that one.
I think that's all right. This, not so sure about. So yeah, we'll see if that's true or not. I think
I'm just going to keep putting that one up. That's brilliant. They're true fan. True fans speak.
Put one in there as well. You can. I think you can. Oh well, stop putting it up. Sorry. I think you can only have the gold outlay when you win the league. Is that right? But we won the league before, so there was an issue this year where we couldn't have the writing on the back of the shirts in gold on the away kit because in the pre-season we had the names and numbers in gold on the black kit, but then there was some regulations that mean we couldn't do it in the Premier League, and I'm thinking that's the same with the front. I might be wrong, but we'll see. We'll see. Colonel Wood obviously put this as well. Sign Tielemans, get Rice and Salcedo.
Yeah. I agree with all that.
I would be happy with all three of those, but again, where do they fit in? I just don't have it in my heart to sell Partey because I think again, yeah, he does get injured, but he's been great for us when he's playing. He's been absolutely superb, and we do miss him. But I don't know. I think I can only see us getting one out of the three of those. I would like at least two out of those three. I'd like Saicedo and Rice, but we're not going to spend the money on both of those. It'll be one or the other, as far as I'm concerned.
I think Rice and Tielemans though would be, Tielemans is on a free. Like, so I can see that happening. I genuinely can see that happening. I can also see us selling, like the likes of, and that's the other one, of course, as we'll say. I can see us selling Tavares. I can see us potentially selling.
Well, I think Tierney they're talking about, isn't it? They're not going to lose.
I think that's a massive mistake. I think
I do too, but from Tierney's perspective, you can get it because he's now coming to that peak kind of playing time age-wise, and he's clearly not first choice ahead of Zinchenko. I don't want to see Tierney go. I love him. I think he's brilliant, but you've got to see it from his angle as well.
Absolutely, no, absolutely.
But,
the other one is, as I mentioned, Thomas Partey. I don't think we need to sell him. Maybe
I hope not. I hope not.
I think he's actually stayed fit for quite a bit of the season, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, I think Colonel. I think as Loki's got a point. He does always seem to get injured. He has got that since he's come to Arsenal. He has, but I just think when he is playing for us, he's such an important cog in our system. The way he plays, and we play through him most of the time. Obviously, if we get someone, I think Saicedo would be the nearest like-for-like replacement to Thomas Partey. So if we could get Saicedo and Rice, I'd be more happy to let Partey potentially go. Not saying I would be happy, but the fact that you've got Saicedo, younger model, only 21, coming up to 22 kind of thing, I think he could be the nearest we've got to being a direct replacement. And I see Rice being a much more of a Xhaka kind of replacement.
Yes, absolutely.
But what's interesting.
And the other one, of course, is Terry's got to eat his words a little bit because old Georgie, he played well. He's. I'm sorry. I
think he's been good. I mean, I thought he was good. When did we play him? I thought he was actually pretty good against Man City. I know we lost.
Yeah.
But I thought he was pretty good against Man City. I thought he played well against Villa. He does the simple things well. That's the one thing I'll say about him. He does the simple things well. Doesn't panic.
His passing is just unbelievable. At a Villa game, I can't remember what the. No, I agree. I agree with that.
I don't want to see him go. I just can see it. I can just see it from his perspective. Yeah. I don't want Tierney to go at all. But from his perspective, he doesn't want to be sitting on the bench every week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wants, and that's where I'm looking at it from.
But again, you've the other argument, of course, is that with Partey injured, do you move Zinchenko up into the midfield because he likes playing, he just likes to sit there. And then
but I think at the moment our system's perfect where you've got him being that extra midfielder when we attack. Because Zinchenko's got the fitness and the stamina to do both roles. Tierney hasn't. That's the only problem at the moment. Zinchenko gives you that extra level of adaptability where when we attack, he becomes that extra midfielder and he's quick enough to get back. Whereas Tierney is that more old style. And I think Tierney's definitely going to play a part this season. And again, similar to when we got backs to the wall, we need to put an extra defender on. I think him and Tommy will be doing those kind of jobs.
And again, I think Tommy, he's I know he had a couple of mistakes against Man City, but I actually think he's in that traditional old style defending. I think he's better than Ben White.
And then you saw, we were both at the Man City game. As soon as you made that mistake, how the fans got behind him was amazing because they realised that's not in his nature. And they also realise the amount of effort he puts in whenever he plays, whether he comes off the bench or from the start.
He's a beast.
And I think, and that actually segues nicely into my next question. Actually, so you mentioned earlier about what makes a fan. Something I've been reading up today actually was an article on BBC around cult heroes and what makes a cult hero. So it got me thinking a little bit. I mean, we've had quite a few cult heroes down the years, and I've got a few I'll share with you in a minute. And I'd love to see the guys in the chats for you as well. But what do you think makes a cult hero at a football club?
A football club, I think it's, my apologies. There's somebody come. I've just got to close the door. What makes a cult hero? Cult hero is to me is someone who embodies the spirit, the drive. This what when I turn around and say, "What's a true fan?" They're the ones that actually love, eat, sleep, and breathe that piece. So to me, cult hero at a football club is somebody that you could almost say like Matt Letizia at Southampton could have been 101 things to 100 different people, but he embodied what it was. Thierry Henry is an image, is an image for a time, Arsene Wenger. So it's about, I think it's about the representation of what we feel is our club and the type of person that we are. Craig Bellamy, for instance, would you say he's a cult hero? I think he's a cult villain or pantomime villain more than anything. But that's Thierry Henry and Craig Bellamy. They're the sorts of people that when I think about my club, would I ever want a Craig Bellamy type person? Definitely not. Right? Would I want Thierry Henry? Absolutely, because him to me, it's the passion, the drive, and everything that is about it. So cult heroes, there's not many of them left because.
Well, no, this is the thing. I do think they are a dying breed. I mean, why I kind of think that is because I think Tomiyasu is kind of getting towards that kind of cult hero type thing, which is why I kind of segued into that the way I did, because he is something that the fan. I think cult hero is someone who endears themselves to the fans, not necessarily because of their ability, but because of either the effort they put in or the little bit of shithousery that they do sometimes, or that they just know their limits.
Yes, yeah,
and they're comfortable with it. So I think it's a mixture of all these different things, and I've got a few that I would actually. I'm not saying they're cult heroes, but I want you to tell me from Arsenal. I've got five here that I'm going to show you.
Right,
I'm going to tell me whether you think they're a cult hero or not. And again, if anyone in the chat wants to add to this, this is I'll be really interested. Again, I've gone back 30 years or so, none before that, because I wouldn't be able to, reliably tell you from my time. So since I've started watching Arsenal, and these are the kind of five that I kind of come up with. So this is my first one. Some of these pictures are really big, by the way, so they're going to block me and Steve out. Charlie Nicholas.
Is he a cult? Would I say Charlie Nicholas a cult hero?
He's a cult hero. So for me, again, like he was in the Arsenal team when I first started following Arsenal.
Yeah.
When I first started playing a real interest in football. And he was obviously talented, but I don't think he possibly ever really got to the heights we would have liked him to.
No.
But he endeared himself to the fans. The fans still liked him. You know what I mean? And and that again, I'm talking from when I was a bit younger, and I've seen him go back. But also now, he talks very well about the club still. And whenever he's interviewed about Arsenal, he still says the Arsenal, and he still talks very, very fondly. So, Charlie Nicholas, yes or no?
No. No.
That's fine. Oh, we've got here Loki. That's funny because I have him, and I think that is for me a cult hero, Abue.
I think for the wrong reasons, though. But
you say that right. So he went from getting subbed as a substitute against Wigan that time, where he was bang awful. But then afterwards, he then started really putting it in for me. He started really putting the effort in, so much so that we used to sing to away fans, "You've only come to see Abue." Yeah. You've only come to see Abue. And he loves that, and he goes up.
I'm sorry, but somebody gets taken off, like comes on as a sub, then gets taken off, right? But I think the thing again, for me, not a cult hero, and the reason being is he was a hilarious character. Like I used to love his interviews because it was like I just sat there and think, wow, what the heck? What's just happened? I don't understand. I've just been a Abue. So no, definitely not a cult hero.
Just say no for Abue. What about Charlie Nicholas? You're on the fence with that one?
No, I'm definitely a no for that one. Definitely.
All right. What about this fella? Jules Grimonde.
Yes.
I think so too. Because I think he was very underrated.
Yes. And also the other part of it is, of course, he went off and started our during the Wenger eras. He went off and did our scouting. So to me, yes, he's a hero because he has stayed with the club. He's got the framework and infrastructure, and actually represents a lot what.
Also, for me, the word I used earlier, shithousery. He was great at that. He was great at those little knocks, little pulling of the shirts without the ref seeing. And do you know what? I didn't think he was a bad player. When he actually got a run in the team, he never really let us down. He wasn't the most, in that team we had, he was never going to stand out against your Bergkamps and Henrys and all that. But he was such an important cog. So we agree on that one, yeah?
We agree on that one. Yeah, we agree on that one.
Got two more for you.
Right. So again,
mercurial is the word. Mercurial.
Yeah, I think that'll be it. And he sounded like a meerkat as well. Come on, he did sound like a meerkat.
But what's wrong with meerkats?
Nothing's wrong with meerkats. It was like listening to a meerkat with him. But yeah, and we always remember those goals he scored in that memorable night. So, but that's a good one that Loki's just put in right there. One of that.
This one here, 100%. I loved him. I thought he was great. Loki, again, I would say he was probably the first one in my era, Perry Groves.
Yeah.
I met Perry Groves as well, actually, and he was a lovely chap. Loki's also put Paul Davis, definitely.
For sure.
Great player there. But Arshavin, yay or nay? I'd say yes, because the reason I say yes is because he didn't really do it consistently, but he had moments of magic.
Yeah,
of just that pure magic he just wanted more of.
He could just turn it on, couldn't he? He could hit a ball and it would just be amazing. This little bloke would run on. And
he used to whine the hell out of one so much because you just knew he had it in him. But it was on his own terms. It was literally on his own terms. It's like, I'll go and score a couple of goals now. See you later. It's like, come on, Andre, sort it out. Team needs you here. But I'd say yes for him. There's also another one which I have conversations over and over again with people. This fella here. Do you remember him?
No. Who's that? That's
Nelson Vivas.
That's it.
He was a henchman. Like, for me, he was like they gave him the number 7 shirt, I remember.
He looks like he actually looks a little bit like Fran Moreda, doesn't he?
Yeah, so when he signed, they gave him he was a proper hard Argentinian defender, come from Italy. Again, I put him. I'd say yes, but because he wasn't that talented, let's be honest.
No.
But he also, when he got the chance to get on that pitch, he made up for it because he would just hack down everyone, and the fans loved it at Highbury. Under the floodlight, he'd just be hacking people down, and most of the time, he didn't get booked for it. Like, he would just get away with stuff. So he wasn't a great player. But I don't know. There was just something about him that I used to watch him when I was at Highbury, and just when he used to come on, you always knew that something was going to happen. It was going to be an eventful moment.
Yeah. Oh, Steve Morrow. That's a good shout. Got some good ones covered in here. So no,
we had Grimondi. We had Grimondi in there.
He said no. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Grimondi no. Didn't have it. Got Stefan. I was like, I don't want to talk about him. He just used to give me nightmares. Steve Morrow, that's not a bad shout. I think because of, when he got the winning goal, broke his arm. I suppose that's not a bad shout at all, actually. I like that one. Anyone else we can think of? Anyone else you can think of that you got? Okay, in our current setup, who could become a cult hero? We've mentioned Tommy already. Who else could potentially become a cult hero?
I think, obviously, our captain. I just think Odegaard is going to be. He's going to.
It still baffles me the amount of fans out there who don't think Odegaard is a good player.
It goes back to what we were saying. These armchair sort of celebrities that think that they understand it and their point of view is the one.
Absolutely baffles me. And the way I think it every single time is you do not understand football.
No.
Think of.
And they've never. The thing is a lot of these people that you see, especially when they make their little sarky comments, they're not. They don't go to the games. If you looked at the beginning of his loan period from Real when he came over, the fans took to him immediately, and he loved the Emirates. You could see it, right? And he was injured, and everyone was on his back. But he's running, his ability, the amount of miles that he was doing, all that sort of good stuff. You could just tell straight away, right, that we had a real talent on our hands. And that last game that he played before his loan finished, I could see, like, you could see the lump in his throat and the tears in his eyes. Right when he put that out, because he was loved from the minute, from the I say the real fans, the ones that go, the ones that watch it all the time, the ones that actually live and breathe and sit here and listen to us. No, Terry, Franny Jeffers, no. So yeah. Little Berg, no, not Franny Jeffers, no, Wimner.
Colonel Ward's great one.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
We'll always remember him for that FA Cup. We'll always remember him for that. Him and BFG just running that. You nutcase, and that. So I think moving forward. So one for the future is going to be Odegaard, right? Because ultimately that kid has come over here. We've embraced him, and he has done the best he can. I think you're absolutely right. Rob Holding is one that needs to be respected. And I know
El Neni.
El Neni. Problem with El Neni is I think with El Neni, if we just said, I'm going to give you a 10-year contract, you're going to start at $1 million a week, and you're going to go down to a 10 a week. No, you know what I mean. He'd sign that contract because I just genuinely think El Neni loves this club. He loves the fan base. He loves the club. He always does his best. But is he is he going to be a legend? I don't think so. But
a cult hero doesn't have to be a legend.
Cult hero. Sorry, cult hero.
Hero, not legend. That's what I'm saying.
Loki's right. He gives 100%. He doesn't care if he's sitting on the bench. Well, to be honest, if someone's paying me $60,000 a week after tax, I wouldn't mind sitting on I'd sit on the bench I'd clean the bench, I'd clean the boots, I'd do whatever you want me to do. But yeah, you sort of I look at him and I think for sure. I think Lauren was a good one. Lauren was absolutely brilliant.
I listened to a podcast this week with Tony Pulis on. And I don't like Tony Pulis, but I like listening to football podcasts. And he was saying that some of the best, when his Stoke team were kind of just coming up in the Premier League, he said one of the things that made them special was that they had squad players who knew they weren't going to be first teamers, but knew their place, but was so important for the team to be there because they were reliable. And I see Holding and El Neni like that.
Yes.
And you can see they're well liked by their teammates, and you can see that they're appreciated by their teammates in the club. And I think in many respects that kind of makes a bit of a cult hero.
The standout one for me on El Neni actually is, and I've said it before, it's Barcelona game. He played absolutely.
I think El Neni, when he came into the team the back end of last season, he had a run of about 6 or 7 games. He was outstanding.
Yeah.
So that potentially shows what he could maybe do if he does get a run in the team, because that was the first time he's had that real kind of run. I mean, he's never going to get there now with the players we've got, but it just goes to show. And there was a reason they signed him in the first place.
All right. You persuaded me. Let's go with El Neni then. Let's put El Neni in.
Right, we're going to stop this chat now while Steve's agreeing on El Neni.
What about Marian Shamak?
No. He, for me, is one of the most frustrating players because that first half, when he come in, first half of the season up until Christmas until Van Persie come back, he scored 14 goals or something, and he looked an absolute world beater. And then Van Persie come back, got his position, and he just never found it again, has he? Never.
Yeah.
I think he's still looking for it.
I do remember him scoring at Man City, though. That was funny with his horrible haircut.
Yeah, I remember him scoring loads at home. Against Spurs, I remember him scoring from a cross. I think he scored 1 goal after that first half of the season, the rest of his Arsenal career. Nicholas Bentner was another one.
No, he's an idiot. No, Nicholas Bentner's a village idiot.
We had a chat about him last week, remember?
If my daughter ever turned up with Nicholas Bentner, I'd give her a beat, and I wouldn't hit. I don't hit women, but I'd give Nicholas Bentner a beat and just throw him out. He's an idiot. He's no, just that I ain't coming off the fence on that one. There's no, he's an idiot. No, go away, Bentner.
I'm fine with that. So, moving on, cult heroes. I enjoyed that, and I think we can probably have conversations like that down the road. If anyone's got any other ideas of cult heroes, let's hear them. I love it. It's a good conversation. Do you know who this fella is, Steve? This fella is actually doing the rounds at the moment for the good reasons. Do you know who this fella is?
Hang on, put my glasses on. No, who's that?
So this is a gentleman called Will Still, and he is the
sounds like an assassin. Will
Still. He's the manager of Reims, where Balogun's playing.
Yeah.
So you've not heard anything about this guy? So he come in. He's been assistant at various clubs. He's only 30 years old. He's born in Belgium, but to a British family, who I think are from Lancashire or Yorkshire or somewhere around that area. Has no kind of real football background. Never played at a level. His first job was at Preston, coaching the under-14s team while he was studying football and stuff. And now, apparently, he's now one of the hottest managers in Europe that all the big clubs are keeping an eye on. Because of stats like this. Youngest manager in the top 5 European leagues. Fell in love with coaching after playing Football Manager.
Wow.
Doesn't have required coaching license. And this is true. So every time they play a game, Reams, I mean, I've heard anything from 20 to 25 grand euros. So let's say 25 for this argument. So Reams pay 20 to 25,000 per game that he's in now. And he's had 14 games unbeaten. And that's and Balogun is playing under this guy, and he is the leading scorer in League One.
It's hope for me. Yeah, I could be a football manager. That'd be awesome.
I mean, I'll just first point out, Steve is 30 years old. Just want to say that.
Okay. I'm a bit screwed.
I'm ruling myself out of that as well. But I love stories like this. Like this is just like it's like a Ted Lasso story. Do you know what I mean?
Can we get him on a show?
He's way too busy. He'll be the next PSG manager or something.
Tell him I'll buy him next year's update for Football Manager if he comes on.
Yeah, probably. But I love this. But I love it. And I've been following him now. Like and loads of people they're talking about him now in circles and that. And I think that one of the things, if you're Reams, is like, why the hell are they not putting him through his licenses? Because he's costing them an absolute fortune. But he took them from the relegation zone.
Yeah.
When he was given the job on a caretaker basis while they were looking for a new manager, and they went 5 games. They won. Well, he was assistant, so he was assistant to I think it was Garcia or someone who was in charge of them. Garcia got sacked early on in the season.
Yeah.
While they were looking for a new manager, they put him in charge. Literally temporary. They put him in charge. They then won 4 or 5 games on the trot with him in charge. And the players were just reacting to him, so they gave him they've given him a contract till the end of the season only. Currently,
yeah.
And they've now gone. They've lost 1 game in his tenure, and out of about 22 games, and he's now got 18 games unbeaten.
Brilliant. What a story!
And now they're like comfortable mid-table, pushing on to Europe.
Wow,
but it's brilliant. I love it. I love stuff like this. I just think that. It's a feel-good story. You know what I mean?
Small town boy. Just he's done one. He's just played on his computer, basically. Yeah. It just goes to show, and actually being most of it, 90% of what you do, and as you know, full well, is being a man manager. Is actually being able to handle the people, the kids, the mindset, and being able to drive them.
What's proven him well is he studied football analysis. That was one of the things he studied at Preston University. So he studied football analysis, so he knows how to read stats, facts, figures. So it's like that Moneyball probably type thing. What is there. So I wanted to share that with anyone else who hadn't heard of him.
Really uplifted. All the negativity we've got. How good is that? There is a chance for us. I think Terry would make a great manager. He can talk about pressures, and he understands. Terry understands pressure, like he understands.
And I also think Loki would be a good right-hand man.
I think so.
He would just tell people how it is straight away.
Colonel's going to be the PR man. He's doing PR. He's fronting it all. He's going to be the voice of the team. I can see it. We've got a dynamic trio there.
No, so we'd be in the media room, obviously, talking rubbish. Now. I want to take you away from France, Reims, and I want to take you to Slovakia, of all places.
Slovakia, what do we have? Yeah. Would this be another amazing stadium that we need to visit?
So. I want to take you to Slovakian amateur ranks, not just any rank, to a team called Čierny. Excuse me, any fans of Čierny Balog, if I pronounce this wrong.
Something out of the
I'm sure there's loads of them going to watch this. This is the stadium of Čierny Balog.
You're kidding me.
The Hogwarts Express that runs through it.
Oh, fabulous.
There's another picture here. There you go.
Could you imagine? Hang on. Could you imagine leaning out?
Every time the train runs through, they have to stop the game.
Oh my God, that'd be brilliant. Leaning out and they go, you're all out the window. Oh,
I love it.
We got to go there. We got to go to Čierny Balog.
like you just have to Google, like, I'll tell you about spell it. Tierney Ballog, and loads of stuff pops up, loads of stuff. And again, like, the train rings its bell when it's coming, and the ref has to blow the whistle, and they have to wait and watch the train come past. And evidently, the fans, not that there's many of them, as you can see, the fans clap the train as it goes through. I just love that. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's like the chicken and egg situation. What come first, really, the train line or the stadium?
Why don't we?
I'm assuming the train line was there first, but then why build the stadium now?
It's the thing. Like, I don't understand it, right? I don't understand it. When we go, like Man City was a great example. Why do you leave 10 minutes early to get the train? Like, why? You've paid the highest price.
I'll tell you why. So you don't get home at 2:30 in the morning, mate.
Yeah, but I didn't care. I was numb. Like, I was just numb. I was numb. That's the one. Yeah, we that was. Sorry, hang on a sec. Yes, we did that a couple of weeks ago. We're going to go there.
You missed that episode, Colonel. We covered that state. I reckon you've heard it on the grapevine from our show. We covered it a few weeks ago. Me and Steve are going to go and visit and do a live
podcast. We're going to do a live podcast right from there, and we're going to see if we can get. We're going to see if we can blag VIP with them, which would be quite funny. But no, going back to that, mate. Is like what you pay for the most expensive tickets, right, in the Premiership. I don't think there's anybody more expensive than we are, and you leave 10 minutes early. Why?
Okay. Look, if my dad's watching tonight, which he sometimes does, you tell my dad that, because he's guilty of that.
Pops, come on, behave yourself. Just stop it. Stop that. Don't stop paying all that money, right, and leaving it. What? Why? I've seen people. So where I sit, you know where I sit. you know where I sit. Yeah. And there's these 5 blokes that turn up. They're always late, right? They're always late. So we're like 3 or 4 minutes into the game. Your blood pressure is coming out the roof anyway, because it's just kicked off. And they always turn up, but all right, mate. And then they walk in. Then just for half time, 10 minutes before, right, one of them will get up, the other one will go. And what you've got is like I said, it's between the 5 and 10 minute time coming into half time. These idiots are getting up and down and doing whatever they're doing. Then they come back late at half time, right? And then they leave early. And I sit there and think, you probably see 20 minutes of the game. You just cost us a fortune. We're up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah, I know. You see it all the time, and I don't get it either. I mean, each to their own. But yeah, I agree. Yeah. I like to see as much of the game as I possibly can. Unless it's anything absolutely drastic that pulls me away. We're near the end, but I want to share some lighter stuff with you, if that's all right. So,
like a steam train on the football pitch ain't light, mate. Come on, that's brilliant.
Yeah. So first, I want to share this. I don't know if this is going back to the transfer window. There was this guy, a winger called Zanolio from Roma. Did you hear about him? Who was trying to edge a move, and then I saw this comment come out from one of the directors at Roma. And I don't know if you can see it right here. So, sporting director at Roma. Even I may think I should earn X money, but if I decide to leave Roma and I see that only Bournemouth and Galatasaray want me, you have to ask yourself some questions. Classic comment. I mean, he must feel really welcome the fact that both of those moves fell through, and he's stuck at Roma. So that's always good. Obviously we briefly chatted about this last week. The Chelsea fan who got completely knocked out against West Ham. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
I mean, everyone must have seen it.
I shouldn't laugh. Like, I should not laugh.
No, you should, because he was a tool. Let's be honest with you. But pictures, and if you're watching, you're welcome on any time, mate. Welcome on any time. But pictures have emerged of the West Ham fan who hit him. I don't know if you've seen him before.
No, I haven't seen us.
Don't mess with this fella. Got his badge on and everything there. So
ready to go. Wherever
that was for me stupid. I mean, one, how did they get into that West Ham end and get in? But he was just asking for it. I've got a nice little thing here that I thought. So we're going back to contracts earlier, and I probably should have shown this earlier. But there was this little picture of when Martinelli signed his contract that warmed my heart.
Was it?
I wanted to share it.
Was he doing that with his arms as he ran up to it? Was he doing that?
This is it. Look, Edu. And he does. If you listen to Martinelli, he does credit Edu with kind of bringing him over and making him and his family feel welcome. And again, Eddie's been getting a lot of slack recently, especially after what happened in the January window. And I think that the players obviously really like him and think he's doing a good job. And that's all I wanted to show that for. I think it's very good.
I've got to, again, these so-called social media, these blokes that float around from one show to the next thinking that they know it all. But look, you got to look at a couple of things. You've seen what's come out about Mudryk recently.
Yeah.
You see this thing. We've had two reports. One of them's come around and said, look, the kid's not happy. Well, really, but he went to Chelsea because they're the ones that are paying him the money that he wanted, right? Because we never know what actually goes on in the background. Sorry?
Of course we don't. We don't.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on about. But apparently, his own Zenit St. Peterburg's come back and said, look, we'll buy him back. We'll buy him back. Off you. It's no problem at all.
We'll give you 10 million.
Yeah, it's 7 quid. That's about all he's worth by the looks of it. And then there's the other part that turned around and said, there's the other one that turned around and said, he's really, really unhappy, and he's made a massive.
He's never looked happy. Even when he signed for Chelsea and he got paraded down the stadium, he never looked happy.
Yeah.
I still think there's a player in there, and he needs an adjustment time. But
for sure.
But it's true. Like, you just never know. You just never know. And maybe we've swerved an amazing bad talent. Who knows? But I think give him till next season until we sort of pass judgment on it, because I think there's too much potential there not to be.
But there was a reason why Edu though didn't go ahead with the deal, because we could have gone. He had the money. There was a reason behind it, right?
I still go down to the integrity factor.
Yeah,
I still think that our club has a level of integrity where we know what we want to go to. We're not going to go anymore. We're not going to be driven, and I think that's something to be admired rather than mocked. Personally, and I'd much rather be supportive of a club with some integrity rather than someone like Chelsea who just go out and splash that money and look at the trouble that they're going to be in about 3 years' time. A couple more things I want to show you. So I found this hilarious. So this is going back a couple of weeks to when Wolves smashed Liverpool at home. If you remember that one. Did you see Jurgen Klopp's comments after? So this is a what's not. Swiftly with a what's not. So what's not is Jurgen Klopp with his comment here. So they lost 3-0. Okay, that third goal I don't count because it was the first time they passed the halfway line in the second half. The other two goals going into the game with all the things we said during the week and before the game. Then this is the start. Is horrible. Like, so these,
What? I don't understand. I don't actually understand what he's saying there.
So what's not is Jurgen Klopp saying that third goal he doesn't count. Okay, so but what I love is we've seen it before actually with Wolves and their Twitter, Wolves and their media. Wolves responded with this, which I love. They changed the full time on their Twitter feed to 2-0 because Jurgen Klopp said that didn't count. And I love that. I just think for me, and that's Neves who got the third goal looking like, oh no, they're taking it off. I just think that's very, very, very clever.
It's interesting looking at that Madrid game with Liverpool. My God, they got torn to pieces.
Well, I was going to talk about that tonight, but I thought I'd just leave that one a little bit because there's a certain Liverpool fan that me and you follow.
Yeah,
I'd like to get involved with that first.
So look, I want actually, I wanted to just sort of loop back quickly. I agree with what Loki's just said. I want to loop back quickly to the Villa game, and the old comment of once a gunner, always a gunner with Martinez. And like Emery, I'm sure Emery had his head in his hands. And you got to admit, Jorginho, if I was Jorginho, I would be sitting there thinking, I'd want to rifle that into that top right-hand corner, but there's something just a little bit sweet about it bouncing.
Oh, there was. I think it was just it was perfect. If you ask me, it was perfect. I mean,
and then the passes, Vieira's pass to Martinelli was just slide rule beautiful as he did it. But I just want to just a couple of things on it, right? Because I think we started that game, although we had monstrous amount, like 75-80% possession of the whole thing, wasn't it? 75-80% possession. I think we did particularly well, but we had no finishing. So there's the Eddie conversation there again, and we'll save that for next week. But for me, it was I felt that win was actually so important to us because you saw at the end that team how it was lifted. As we've been in the doldrums, mate. We'd have been doldrums. We'd have lost that one. I think we'd have gone.
Yeah.
We'd have just.
Would have been over. Would have been over.
I wanted to. I just wanted to get your feeling. I wanted to get your feeling. Do you think now that that's actually going to give them inspiration and drive and vim and bring it back to come back? Because that's what, irrelevant as to what we are, but where we are in the process. But that's what champions do. Champions come back, mate, and they win. And we can say, there's two things here. Saliba was rubbish and he should have done better and all that nonsense. We could have got all of that in play. But ultimately, it's that winning mentality to actually come back and put that pressure on and that whole piece and what it meant to everybody around it. I personally feel it was such a massive win for us. I think this weekend's game is going to be very important as well.
Yeah, I think every game is going to be important from now on. Every game. But I think for me, the manner in which we won that game, the fact that we didn't give up and we went till the end. And again, you've met Chris, my mate Chris, who's an Everton fan. I had a massive chat with him about the game on Sunday. I chatted with him on Sunday. Obviously, the game was Saturday, and he was saying the same thing. He was like, the mark of a top team is that they just never give up. Arsenal could have easily settled in for the draw, but they went for it. And he said it reminds me of the old Man United teams in the 90s who never gave up and who used to literally go till the end and get those last-minute winners and those injury time winners and those kind of things. And he said that's a championship winning performance.
Yeah,
it wasn't the greatest overall, but the fact that there was that never give up, never say die attitude. And that's why that release at the end, a lot of people were having to go about the celebrations at the end. But no, I mean, you ask any supporter, if they were in our shoes, they would have done exactly the same thing.
I actually literally picked my cat up and threw him across the room. Not in an aggressive way. I was so excited. I kind of went over, sitting on my lap. I was so excited. The poor thing, he just jumped straight up into the air. And
have you seen him since?
Yeah, he's got a cone on his head. I kid you not. I'll send you a picture later. But no,
I agree with Terry. Yeah, it was for me. It was that important, and the fact that then City went and dropped points after just made it even sweeter. But it was, for me, it was like you can't underestimate again. I've used that word a few times tonight. How massive that was. If we would have lost, I do think that the wheels could have come off quite easily. We were on that kind of spiral where things weren't quite happening, but I'm really hoping this can be that catalyst now to get us going again and go on another little run.
Leicester's gonna be a hard game, but
Everton next week as well.
Yeah, I'm not going to be there, unfortunately. I think Luke will be there to say hello to everybody, but I'm going to be in Malmö in Sweden, so I will be there in spirit, or I'll probably drink in spirits if I'm honest with you. It's quite expensive out there.
I'll be there and probably drinking as well. But
I will be the old bloke with the old fat bloke with the Arsenal top on. If you see me in Malmo, no. But look,
one more thing I want to finish on, right? This will make you happy.
Always want happiness.
For Arsenal, we've talked about our bad fans. We've talked about people being upset with the club, players, etc. But the one thing I'll always think that makes me feel good inside is that we're not Tottenham, okay? And I saw this online that is actually from Tottenham. It had come out last week, and this was at some sort of seminar that they were doing, and they decided to have this on a banner, okay, when people come in. And to say it's got a fair bit of abuse is a good way, but let me show you with it. And if you can't read it, I'll read it out for you. It is better to fail aiming high than to succeed aiming low. And we of Spurs have set our sights very high, so high in fact that even failure will have in it an echo of glory.
Can you read that once more? Yeah.
I'll give you Spurs, everyone. It is better to... I can't read it with a straight face now. It is better to foul aiming high than to succeed aiming low. So let's just break it up. It's better to foul aiming high, fine, than to succeed aiming low. They don't even succeed aiming low. They don't even win little things. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, well, I'm going to say it. Listen, because all you guys are really hard on Spurs. It's not fair, right? They did win best Premier League pitch last season. Right? I'm just putting it out there.
And they won the Audi Cup a few years ago here.
It's better to fail aiming high than to succeed aiming low. So, okay, that's really good if you're a heart donor, yeah? Or if you've got heart disease, that's really good. Yeah, look, I want the best. I don't want a normal heart. I want a really good heart.
Or a high jumper.
Yeah, a high jumper, yeah. No, sorry. Failure is failure, right? Yeah. Mindset, winning, a winning team, a winning mentality, my friend. End of story. Like, you know.
I love the last bit. Even failure will have an echo of glory. No,
it doesn't. No,
King's Solly that. How does he feel about that?
No. I'm sorry. That is. See what that is? That's a loser that's written that. Yeah, that's a loser with no ambition.
This is Spurs' marketing team has put this together, and So no matter how bad you think your team's doing, everyone, no matter how bad you think Eddie can't score goals, you're not happy with Jack or whatever. We're not Tottenham. We don't have this dribble, okay? So be thankful for that. I know it's not Thanksgiving, and we don't really do it in the UK anyway. But be thankful we're not Tottenham. Okay.
Hold on, no. That's the one. That's the one right there. There you go, my friend. True fan right there.
Some of these I don't think we can share.
No, I don't. Yeah, we will get banned. But honestly, gentlemen, what a great evening. That's absolutely brilliant. But you know, as always, I'm very.
How's the talent in the Weatherspoons tonight, Colonel?
There you go, mate. Yeah, Danny Weatherspoons, one of Weatherspoon's princesses. But listen, you know, as the end of the day, you know, we've lost some amazing people this week. But the great thing about it is you know that as fans we will continue on loving our team. We'll continue on supporting it. We'll do all the stupid things that we always do, and as long as we do it with good humour, and as long as we do it, you know, as one, you know, we're not aiming high for, you know, to lose. We're aiming high to win. And at this moment in time, mate, thank you, Mr. Martinez, because as I say, once a gunner, mate, always a gunner.
I agree. So yeah, I think that just blew my mind seeing that. But anyway, I have really enjoyed tonight. It's been really good just to have a nice chat. Nothing too taxing, nothing too deep to get into. It's been a real good people in the chat tonight as well. Good to see the regulars in there. Thank you so much for getting involved. Kind of walk yourself to the bar, get yourself a bottle of WKD. Don't know what they do in Weatherspoons now. Thank you very much. And I'm sure we will be back next week. I'm hoping.
I'll be
back from Sweden.
So yeah, I'm back. I'll be back from Sweden next week. So it will be I'll be back.
Week after that, I'm going to be away. So yeah.
Fred scored. It's 1-1 at the minute. So Fred scored.
We go through away goals, wasn't it? That was 2-2 first leg, wasn't it?
Yeah. Are they still doing away goals? Who cares anyway? We don't care. But look, guys, thank you for everyone that you know participates in the channel. Everybody that actually has a bit of a laugh, and we get it. We don't take it too serious. You know, have a little beer on that.
Realise that now.
Yeah, I think I'm not a serious kind of guy. I don't impose my own opinions on everybody, but my opinions are the ones that count. So listen. Have an absolutely brilliant one, Adam. Thank you, mate. It's been way too long.
Pleasure as always.
And don't forget, what's the one thing you must remember? North London!
Take it easy, people. Much love.
Take care.